Three people who couldn't be here, and so I want to make sure this is available for all of our mentors. Let me introduce you to Kirkland and Alex, who are the student leaders for the Mentor-Mentee program. We are still looking for a great name for this project because the Engage Cornell Mentor-Mentee, we don't have a good name. So if you are thinking about a good name for this project, that would be really fantastic. Okay. So Kirkland and Alex, do you want to do some logistics first?
Yeah. Okay, so just two really quick things. I'm going to be adding everyone to the Google Calendar. So when we have meetings, and if you guys want to schedule things, like when we do booking rooms and stuff, you guys can put it on there so we all can see what we're doing. That's one. And I'm going to give you guys access to our master Google Drive with all of our documents and forms and information so that if you miss anything, you can go in there and just get it. That's all for me for now. Alex, anything else?
I don't have anything. That's
Okay.
pretty much it.
Okay, so I'll go into my little presentation exercise. The Arts Engine video that I asked you to watch, the one I actually wanted to watch was the Ken Fisher interview with Aaron Dworkin, but this week there was a different one. So, but Arts Engine is a great resource. Aaron Dworkin is one of our upcoming guests. And so he does a weekly show interviewing all kinds of people from the field or classical music. So do use that as a resource. And in fact, it'll probably be a resource that we can refer to our mentees. So it's sort of good to know about that as a resource. Okay. And then the other reading that I asked you to read, defining dialogue versus discussion and debate. What I want to do is I'll sort of quickly define a dialogue for us. And then who's read the article? Raise your hand. Great. So if you haven't, please read it because it's much better at defining the definition of dialogue. But it's a skill that we're going to all have to have not only with our Engage Cornell partners, but with our students and their families. Oftentimes, when I was being trained through high school, I wasn't a debate team, but my poli-sci teacher taught this very contentious way of teaching. So she made us take sides and they would debate the issue. And so debate and discussion was the forum by which we learned things, right? So I kind of had, and then on top of that, as a professor who's supposed to be a person imparting knowledge to students, I'm always in sort of this one-way conversation of imparting knowledge mode of teaching, as I'm doing right now, which is has its issues because if you're on a debate exchange, then you're basically in trying to find a weakness in your opponent's position, right? You're trying to come up with, in debate with another person, you're trying to win an argument. You win an argument towards your position, right? You're not really trying to understand who they are. You don't really care where they come from. You're not in the mode of understanding the person in front of you. But the mode is actually, how can I win this argument and take advantage of the weaknesses being shown by my opponent? So that's sort of the debate mode of discussion, right? And then discussion really is, even if you're on the same team, you're working towards coming up with a solution, right? So you may come from different backgrounds, you may have different ideas, but the discussion is really meant to go towards coming up with a solution, right? But at the same time, even with our engaged partners, that doesn't go anywhere near towards going towards understanding who this person is that we're trying to have an engaged relationship with, right? So we're going to do a quick, dialogue is one in which the purpose is not to win an argument. The purpose is not to come up with a solution. The purpose, the main criterion of a dialogue is to understand who the person is, where they're coming from, and listen with empathetic ears and active listening so that you really understand their point of view, where they're coming from, who they are, right? So that's the dialogue we want to have with our partners, right? So Miss Audrey Moss is, I sort of had this idea this summer based on my exchanges with Cayuga Heights teachers. And so I have a very specific idea of what this engaged activity would look like, right? She may have a completely different idea or needs or wishes for an exchange between her students and you guys, and between me and her, right? So I really have to come in to this, dialogue not as a discussion where I'm not coming in with a set agenda where I want to have certain things accomplished and these are the things we're going to offer. Take it or leave it, right? That's not the position we want to be in, right? I want to be in dialogue with Ms. Moss and our students and really understand what are the needs, what are the things we can provide to be her resource, right? So that's the kind of dialogue that I would like for you to engage with our mentee and their families, and with Ms. Moss, so that you are in dialogue and really trying to understand, rather than pushing forth your agenda of what you define as the mentor project, but really understanding where they're coming from and what are their needs. Okay, so I'm going to do a short exercise. And so Kirkland and Alex are going to be my guinea pigs for this exercise. And then we'll recreate this exercise in breakout rooms for each of you. Okay, so Kirkland will, and all of us are going to answer this question. What do I want to get out of this mentor project as a mentor, right? So Kirkland will say what his goal for the program is. And then Alex will listen, actively listen, and then ask any clarifying questions. Is there a word that she doesn't understand? Is there vocabulary or something that's not clear? Then she will ask a clarifying question. And then the third person, whose toughest job is to repeat back what Kirkland said, but I have to use my own words and not just repeat back what Kirkland said, right? So not only do I have to actively engage and listen to what he's saying, but then I have to synthesize it and then say it back and in my own words describe what he said. Okay, so let's do that quickly exercise with Kirkland and Alex.
Okay, so I'm going to pretend to be the student because I know what the student's going to say because I've heard it like 3 times and it never changes. So out of this program, I don't really know what I want to do or get out of it, but I want to get better at violin or cello or whatever.
And then my question for the student is, what things do you want to get better at? Like, what do you mean by that?
Right, so then Alex asks clarifying questions, right? And then I would say, okay, so what I heard was that you're not quite sure what this program is supposed to do, but you want to get better. You don't quite know how to get better. And so I think I want a little more definition, but I also want to get better from this program, right? Something like that, okay? So what we would do in the breakout rooms is we would all have each take a role. One person would start out by saying what their goal for that, and this is your mentor, your goals, not the student's goals. Okay, so that was just an example because otherwise, anyway. So and then first person states the goal for the mentor. Second person asks a clarifying question, and the third person, in their own words, reflects back to the original person what their statement was. Okay, so each of us should be doing that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to send you to the breakout rooms. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'll make 4 rooms. Okay. No, hang on. Open, add room, 3, 4. Okay, go. Oh, yeah, go to the rooms.
Chris, I don't think the rest of us got assigned to
Oh,
the room yet.
hang on. I'm going to close it back again. Hang on. I have to get everybody back before I can close it down. It's not letting me. Hang on. Okay, I have to. Okay. Hang on. Sorry. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna allow you guys to choose a room, and then I'm gonna do a countdown is 15. Add a room. No. No rooms. Okay, I have to manually just do it. Okay. Okay, one room has 4 people. Okay, all right. So you are all assigned to a room. So go to your each rooms and do the exercise and come back in. I'll broadcast.
Was to, like, I will ask a question. I did it kind of like a kid because the kid doesn't know anything. And then maybe you could be like, okay, like, I need clarification because like I need to know what you mean. And then Alex is gonna summarize something like that, okay?
Okay.
So I asked the question before. How about you ask the question and I ask a clarifying question and Alex can summarize?
So I'm playing the kid.
Or
playing
yourself.
Yeah,
You're playing.
Actually, it should be your own statement, what you want to get out of the mentor
Yes.
program.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
We're not role playing.
No. So, but within, we're really trying to understand each other. Yeah.
Okay. I
Okay.
thought we were like practicing, or I don't know. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna jump into another room.
Okay.
Just being supportive, I guess. So then I think you have to like repeat what I said, but
Oh, should I do that? Okay.
yeah.
So basically you said that growing up you had a lot of role models or you admired people in classical music and you want to be that person for the other person, for the person you're mentoring. And you'd like to be able to help them when they hit walls instead of getting frustrated and giving up. You'd like to help them move past that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then switch
So you have
roles
to
to do another person does a statement and then another person reflects back. Okay, all right.
Cool.
Connection with one or more younger students, and I'm not really sure if you just assign one person, but and just really like try to give them some of that love of music that has made my life so much better for the last 9 years.
Why do you love music?
Because it's given me a community and a passion and something that like I can work toward and I feel myself getting better and like I just feel like accomplished and I just really enjoy it.
And then how do you see yourself like instilling that love in someone else?
I know, definitely just by talking about it. I think when you start in music, like you don't know what it can become. So by like kind of giving them something to look forward to and be like, wow, this is where I am now and this is everything I've done. This could be you someday.
Okay, so I feel like you're interested in this program because of the community outreach. And I think you want to give these younger kids sort of the experience that you had and kind of giving them something to aspire to in music and kind of
taught me so much about life, you know? I learned this so much.
So I guess we went around once for me, so if someone else wants to go.
Ella, do you want to jump in?
What I was hoping to get out of this program was just engage.
How'd it go?
It was good.
Okay, I'm gonna close the breakout rooms. All right, everybody should be coming back. Okay, so I'll just take a couple minutes to have everybody. Can you share about what it was to feel like to say the statement and then to be engaged in active listening and trying to be empathetic, and then when you heard back your statement in somebody else's words, how that felt? Maybe 2 or 3 people reflect.
It was nice to be heard.
I felt that like we were better able to connect and have that shared experience when they like questioned me, and like I could hear how maybe my words translated in their mind.
Yeah, oftentimes I'm in so much in sort of delivery mode. Let me share a little personal story. Like my parents, I felt like always were in one-way conversation mode with me. Like I'd be talking to them in the same room, but it always felt like they never really had their ears open to what I had to say in response to what they were saying. It was always do this, do it this way, but they were never really interested in, well, I have a question actually. Do we really have to do it this way? Or so I think sometimes, often, if you're lucky enough to be in a family that has parents that are not in delivery mode of like directives and commands, and I think people who have good relationships are people who have actually are able to listen to you and say understand what your position is, right? And I think just as you've found the experience of growing up with a directive, commanding parents, where you really felt like you had no voice in the matter, then that's the situation where if you're not engaged in dialogue, that's how it'll feel for our partners, right? So I think it's really important for us to take the stance of not discussion, not debate, where we're not there to judge people, we're not there to accomplish or give a solution. We're actually trying to have a dialogue and trying to understand somebody who's coming from a different situation, right? And I think especially important sometimes, because I heard a few things where I'd like to be a mentor that I had mentors when I was growing up through the musical experience. You know, it's really because you guys are Cornell students, Cornell undergrads. So just by perception of talent and guide relationship, going to down the hill, you know, sort of sharing that can immediately have establish the sense of power dynamic between your mentee and your mentor, right? So it's really you got to be careful about not going down the road where you're there to impart knowledge, right? Even though you're a much more experienced instrumentalist, musician than the student fourth or fifth grader who just started on their instrument, of course, right? But if you're dialoguing with somebody, then you're really coming to the table trying to understand what the other person is going through, where they're coming from, right? So be careful about thinking that this is going to be somehow a service situation in which you're the person providing the goods, right? And a lot of times, when people go on missions, they say, you know what? I thought I was going to give something to people who have less than I do, but then oftentimes, if the person is genuine about that experience, oftentimes the comment they have is, I thought I was going to a service mission, and in fact, I got so much back, right? That's sort of the genuine experience somebody has. As a young teacher, when I started out, I had the concept that, okay, I'm the teacher, I'm supposed to give experiences. Well, in fact, if I reflect back on my 2 years of public school teaching in a school district that had about 50 around halfway mark of students who are under the poverty line, my Perkins loan was forgiven as a result of teaching in a red zone school district. So from the outside, it looked like I'm going there to serve. What I got actually was I learned how to be a humble person. And I became a better human being as a result of putting myself in a situation where I had to be empathetic to my student needs, to the families. And I consider those 2 years a huge learning experience where I learned to be a better person as a result. Right? So be careful of going into a equation where you think you are the person providing the goods, the service, you're the teacher, you're the mentor. That power dynamic is already existing because of who you are. You're a Cornell student versus a fourth grade student, right? A family in the BJM school district. So be humble about having a dialogue with them, with your mentee and the mentee's family, that you're really going there to understand another person who's coming from a completely different background. Okay, all right. What I would love to do is tell you a little bit about BJM and Miss Audrey Moss. And I thought the best way to do that is share this video that she made over the summer for her students. And it's a recruitment video for, I think, students who are about to start learning instruments. So here we go.
Leaving behind second grade, a brave group of third graders set out to discover a world full of adventure. November 2020. Miss Audrey will be teaching you violin, viola, cello, or bass.
Which I think like is the greatest thing I've seen in a while. So you know, the person who's demonstrating all these is Miss Audrey Moss. So she's a young teacher, and I don't know how long she's been teaching in the school district, but what I want to do is provide her with the resources, whatever she needs. So she's gone through a really tough time because the Ithaca School District opened October 5, which was last week. Last Monday they started. So that means, you know, all summer she thought she was going to be teaching in one mode, and it's sort of all been up in the air. So I think that's why we are not already started. We're really kind of waiting for her, for the dust to settle, and her school year has started. She knows who our students are. And then once that's, she's really has a moment to breathe, that's when she'll probably get back to us. I think Kirkland has a meeting with her this week or in a few days. So we'll have more information in the coming weeks. I'm also going to order these books. This is the book Rachel Pine Foundation has made, the coloring book for Black composers and music by Black composers. I'm going to order one of these for all of the mentors because I want you to be able to share this resource with your mentees. And I've been kind of going through that, and they're really fantastic. Each piece has a mirrored biography of the person. There's like a person featured. It has the biography of the composer, right? And the piece that the composer has written. And it's really a fantastic resource. So I want you guys to have this as a resource to refer to, right? Two things going forward. I would like for you guys to think about having two ways of documenting your experience, right? One is there should be a living document in the form of a Google Drive documents where just like our tours, where the tour committee doesn't try to reinvent the wheel every year, right? So that each year, the tour committee's experience organizing and fundraising and planning for a tour is a set of experiences that is built upon in the next tour, right? So the model we have with international touring, every time we have a tour, they get briefed and learns from the previous tour committee's experience and mistakes and wisdom, right? So that each year, each time a tour committee leaves a documentation of how to do things, like what kinds of resources were used, when things were booked, right? So we're building a documentation of your experience this year working with Ms. Moss and the BJM School District, so that we're going to pass on to next year's mentors, right? So we have Kirkland and Alex who are serving that role from last year, and they're going to be sharing from their experience in leading you and helping you, right? But one of the things that we are all going to do as mentors is log our experiences, advice, logistics, any kind of thing you can think of that'll be helpful for the next set of mentors that's going to come and take over your roles next year, right? So think of things as you encounter, oh, you know, this information would be really helpful for the next set of mentors to know, right? So we'll be collecting all of those documentation throughout this year. All right, so that's one sort of set of documents that you're doing. And then another set of document is sort of a journal of your exchange with the mentee. Like what I have with when I conduct an orchestra is I always take immediately after a rehearsal a set of notes, right? Not only on the piece, but on the players, what happened in that rehearsal. So by the time I go through 5 or 6 rehearsals, I have a sort of a written map of what's happened, like what passages were rehearsed, what passage needs more work. So all of these set of notes prepare me for the next rehearsal. It prepares me for the next time I do the piece. It prepares me, it's a log by which I go through, and it prepares me for the next step forward, right? So in a similar way, I want you to have a personal log with your exchange with your mentee, so that perhaps you can share this log with your mentee at the end of the year, or after 5 years when they got into high school. Once I was lucky enough to be in a program where, as a middle school student, I had a high school mentor, and she took notes every time she came in, did a sectional with us, middle school orchestra. And then when I was in high school, she sent this letter to all of the students she mentored, and it's a really prized possession of mine, because it has a picture of me as a 7th, 8th grader, of what I was like, what kind of things, how I was reacting to things. Like, that is an amazing gift you can give to somebody if you can give that kind of documentation, right? So I never forgot that. It can, in some ways, it sort of steered me towards music education, because I realized, oh my God, you can have that kind of an effect on a person. I blame Lisa for making me a music teacher because of her notes of me when I was a 7th grader. So the journal that you're gonna have is both for you and both for your mentee, where how you progress in terms of what is my next step with the student, like how can I help this person? So you can kind of have a written log of what's happening, right? And then it can be an amazing gift to that mentee, right? So those are the two documentations I would like for you to keep through this experience, right? And then anytime you want me to come and observe your Zoom session with the student, and give you advice, you are sort of encountering a 4th grader who just doesn't want to be there, or like you need some advice, Kirkland and Alex and I are your resources. Okay, so just shoot me an email. I'm not sure what to do next. I'm kind of hitting a wall. What should I do, Chris? Right, so then call for my help. Okay, all right. I am over the allotted 30 minutes by 3 minutes, so I'm going to end the meeting. I will stay on if anybody has questions, but look for an update from Kirkland and Alex and me regarding the mentor program. Okay, and thank you for your patience in this is not like we're not in session right now, because we're trying to be sensitive to Miss Audrey and her schedule, and just trying to coordinate the opening of schedule in Ithaca. Okay.
Really quick,
Thanks,
I feel like some people may want to know how much should they write?
Oh, well, that's entirely up to you, because I mean, you all have an A, okay? But it's all right. This is kind of mean of me, but you will get exactly how much you put into this experience. Okay, so I'm not going to put sort of a minimum quota or a maximum quota, because I don't want to limit your experience by setting some kind of arbitrary minimum maximum line, right? All of your experiences throughout your life, people are going to put these arbitrary lines of what it means to be an A student and what it means to be a person that gets promoted. I wish people would not do that, because that really limits your potential and the potential for you to achieve whatever your dreams may be, right? So you will get exactly how much you put into this experience, okay? So if I say, 400 words minimum, I don't know what that means, okay? And quality is not, okay, let me say this again. Quality is not directly proportional to length. I have seen 50-page reports that doesn't tell me anything about the experience. Okay, I want genuine reflection. Take this time to meet a person who comes from a totally different background than you, and find out if there's a way you can learn from that person. Find out if there's a way, maybe there's a way to solve this puzzle that we called racism and inequality in classical music. This is your chance to engage with somebody who may not be able to afford lessons, right? This may be the way you can solve a particular specific case solution where this person starts to love music just like you have done. I don't know what the equation was that made you continue to play instrument at college, even though it's not your major. For me, you are the most amazing people on earth because you're not a music major, right? You're not in orchestra for a requirement. You have decided to keep this love. And as a parent, I want to know what that equation is because my 11-year-old is like 3 years. He loves the cello, he loves his teacher, but he also loves other things. And he's just about to quit his instrument. And I'm trying to figure out how do I walk that line of like, no, you got to keep playing? Or how do I keep that flame of love for music alive where he decides on his own power, on his own volition, say, Dad, I want to keep playing. What is the equation? Okay, so I want to know from you what that is, right? But use this as an opportunity where you learn about not only another person, but through that prism about you and who you are, right? So no minimum, maximum. That doesn't mean anything to me, right? But I want you to have a genuine experience. And I'll repeat, you will get what you put into this experience. Okay? All right.
All right, thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Chris.
All right.
Thank you.
Anna, you have a
Chris,
question?
I had a couple, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
One, Kirkland mentioned something about background check, like paperwork. Were we supposed to have done that by now? Because I haven't.
Yes. Really?
So
yeah.
Kirkland, let me follow with Jamie because I think Jamie's assuming that people who did last year is good to go. But if there's anybody that's new, they need to go with the background check. Yeah.
I've done this once before, and I think I did a background check, but only briefly, so I don't know if that still applies.
Got it. Okay, so we'll double check for you, and we'll get back to you within this week. I'll ask Jamie what the procedure exactly is for both returning and new mentors.
Okay, and then my second question was with those books that we can have for reference for our mentees. I'm going to be in Wisconsin the entire time, so I don't know
okay.
how exactly I would
Then
provide.
what we'll do is we'll collect addresses of where we can ship it to you, and then we'll ship it to you.
Okay, and then in order to have it so the student I'm working with can use those resources, wouldn't it be better for them to have it?
Yeah, but you also need a copy so you can refer to it. So let's do this. I believe there's an online version, and I'll ask if there's a way I can get access to that so that you have. Okay, so first, send me an email saying where you are, and then if I can get the online version, then I'll just get that link and share it to you. And then you can share that link. If not, then we've got to figure out some sort of way to scan our books, and then we can make our own links. Although that's breaking copyright rules, but we'll figure it out. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
So Chris, there's no, so background checks didn't go out to anyone yet?
I thought they did.
I thought they did too, because I sent out that email to her and I was talking to her and she asked for like a master list and I gave it to her.
I think it did.
Okay, I did
Let
mark.
me just double check with Jamie.
Okay.
She's had a lot on her plate, so I'll ask her again.
And with the books,